Pa Sung can get almost all he needs from his yaks. The rich milk makes butter, cheese and yogurt, and the hides he turns into shoe leather, tough enough to take the rocky trails. From the wool he makes saddlebags and the ropes that bind them, and the cloak and the blankets he'll sleep under tonight. For the yak herder, there's no glory in scaling mountains. He must climb to survive. But the influx of tourists, trekkers and climbers is a welcome bonus for Pa Sung. His yaks carry their loads up and take ambulance cases back down. Even the tails have a market. Some make whisks, some are exported to the west to become beards for Santa Claus. Ahead now, the welcome sight of Machama, their resting place for the night. Tomorrow's climb to Gokyo Lake will be harder than today's, but even today, everyone's more than willing to drop their loads. The yaks are hungry. They've had little time to graze, so Pa Sung's main food supply, sacks and sacks of potatoes, has to be shared with them as well. Tonight, the yaks will sleep in enclosures, for there could be danger. A woman from Pa Sung's village claimed she was knocked out here and 3 of her yaks were killed by that elusive creature, the Yeti, the abominable snowman. Pa Sung's never seen one, but he certainly exists. Hillary isn't so sure, but both agree there's one very real danger: wolves. The wolves work in pairs, one grabbing the yak's tail, the other attacking from the front. This yak saved its life, but the wolves got its tail. Pa Sung's dog will be on guard all through the night. As an extra safeguard, the yaks wear bells to attract attention under attack. From inside his hut, Pa Sung can tell from the rhythm of the bells if the slightest thing is disturbing them.
You know, from this side, Cholatsi's a pretty massive sort of thing, isn't it?
It's a beautiful peak.
It's a beautiful peak.
Actually, it's incredible to me that it's still unclimbed, such a big peak around here.
But from the other side, you know, it's a really sharp point. But here, it's, you know, much more massive.
Yeah, it's very spectacular over here.
I guess you get up some of those ridges there. Very hard enough.
Sure, sure.
The final day on the trail for Pa Sung and his yaks. By mid-afternoon, they should reach the lake.
Yaks understand all the different noises you make? Yeah, what do they all mean? I mean, yeah.
Downside going dim.
Oh, downside, the other side. Yes, same thing. Yeah.
Yellow, malo, malo.
The Gokyo Trail is not new to Hillary. He was one of the first foreigners to travel it on an expedition to Tibet in 1952. That mountain ahead, striding the border with Tibet, was one of the peaks Hillary trained on for the assault on Everest. It's Choyo, the world's 7th highest mountain, 26,500 feet. The altitude here is just 15,000 feet, but there's only half the oxygen you get at sea level. Everyone feels the strain, except the yaks. With extra large hearts and lungs, they plod on at their standard 1.5 miles an hour. The first of a series of lakes, high, remote, yet not devoid of life. The coming of spring has brought migratory visitors, a pair of Brahmani ducks that spend most of the year with tigers and crocodiles in the tropical jungles of lowland Nepal. But they come up here to the peace and quiet to have their young. There, ahead of them, their destination, Gokyo Lake, its shores decked with prayer flags brought by pilgrims. For this is a holy lake where, they say, visions sometimes appear.
Well, it'll be nice to spend a few days here.
Beautiful spot.
For Pa Sung, the climb is over. Soon the yaks will have their young, and his family will come up to help. They'll graze the yaks on grass brought on by monsoon rain. For Hillary, the journey's not over yet. He plans to climb higher, far beyond the pastures, to come face to face with Everest once again. Overnight, the last snowfall before the rains, and with it a happy event, a new arrival. And it's a girl, not a yak, but a nak, the name the Sherpas give to the female of the species. It's a special joy for Pa Sung, for in a few years he can expect this baby to produce young of her own and increase his herd further. The little nak will probably give birth to 15 calves during her 20-year lifespan. Day by day, Pa Sung's herd increases. Soon there are 10 new offspring. For the first 2 days of life, they stay safe in their enclosure, but when they're just 3 days old, they're able to join their parents in the daily search for the choicest grass, whether it lies across icy rivers or high up 20,000 feet mountains. The snow clouds have vanished now, and you can see for miles. The peaks are crystal clear, and Hillary is off through the thinning air, bound for a vantage point, to see the mother of mountains, where once he spent 10 minutes on top of the world. He must climb 1,500 feet more. That's the same target he and Tenzing had to achieve when they set out that final day for the unclimbed summit.
I think we were reasonably optimistic when we set off that morning in 1953, but I was concerned about the length of time the climb might take. If it took too long and the oxygen in our cylinders ran out, the scientists had warned us that we might just drop dead. The long slope up to the south summit worried us too. The snow was soft and steep. The whole slope seemed likely to avalanche. And I think on any other mountain we would have turned back. Finally, we reached the south summit and looked along the narrow, unknown ridge towards the top. It was a pretty impressive sight, but I thought I could see a route. For 2 more hours, we plugged our way upwards, getting more and more tired, and wondering somewhat desperately where the top might be. Suddenly, to my delight, I noticed that the ridge ahead, instead of rising, dropped steeply away into Tibet. A few more weary steps, and I stood on top of Everest.
It must have been an incredible feeling being on the top.
Well, it was a pretty good feeling, I guess, although I don't remember ever jumping up and down for joy at any moment. I think we were tired and we still had a long way to get down again. I think the best moment was when we actually finally got down into the Western Combe to meet all our companions and know that the worst of the difficulties and dangers were behind.
This is the BBC Home Service. Mount Everest has been conquered by members of the British expedition. The news reached London in a message to the Times from Colonel H.C.J. Hunt, the expedition's leader. It said that Mr. E.P. Hillary, a New Zealander, and Tenzing Bhutia, a Sherpa, had reached the summit last Friday, May 29th. The message added, all is well. On Everest is the 11th attempt that's been made to scale the 29,000-foot mountain in the past 30 years.
Banner headlines splashed the story. In Britain today, almost everyone can tell you where they were the day the news got through from the Himalayas. It was June the 2nd, 1953. The nation was on holiday, watching the coronation on television, when the announcement came. Hillary's success made us all feel on top of the world. Now a celebration of a different kind, one dearer to Hillary and the people of Everest. It's the official opening of the new school. Families have trekked miles from isolated villages. Future pupils, too young to know what the excitement's about, get their first glimpse of the school. The children who helped with the building lead the dancing. And proud parents and grandparents and others not connected with the school have come for today also marks the opening of the health clinic Hillary built. With the zeal of the converted, teachers try to pull in the first patients. Do you suffer from sore eyes? Are you plagued by headaches, stomach aches, coughing, fits or fleas? Why suffer longer when relief's so close at hand? Seek the advice of the doctor and take his pills. Tomorrow, Hillary will say goodbye to the Sherpas for the 45th time, but not for long. Next year, he'll build them a hospital and a bridge. They are more important, he says, than those first footprints on top of the world.
We hope that many more children will come to school and get good learning, and we will always be prepared to help with further expansion and more children come. On behalf of the Himalayan Trust and all those who have helped build this school, I have much pleasure now in declaring the school open.